Thanks for joining me on this Junior's Gasoline Alley, where today we're going to be adding some nice bright LED lights to my Kyosho Madvan. This thing has a really cool looking grille, some nice tails, but unfortunately they don't light up, and it's the middle of winter where most of my time driving this truck is going to be outside. So I want to get this thing updated with some nice lights added to the front as well as the back. And to do that, we're going to be using a light kit I bought off of eBay for virtually nothing. It was super cheap. I'll have it linked down in the description below. But basically it's 2 front lights, 2 rear lights, and a little package here. So let's go ahead and get this thing illuminated. Now, of course, you'll take the body off to get this project done, and underneath you'll see that Kyosho has the receiver box, which is right here, pretty well tied up, so nice and covered. So along with the light kit that we have here, what we're going to end up needing to do is also use an extension. So I've got some extensions. These I picked up off of Amazon, and I'll be sure to have everything linked down below. And this is going to be the extension that you're going to need, basically a female end and a male end for these lights to go into. So first I want to show you where everything's going. Basically you're going to need a 2mm Allen, and just go ahead and start unscrewing the cover, to which you're going to see underneath there your ESC as well as little electronic receiver box. Here you can see on the receiver, basically inside of there's going to be 2 open spots for a 3rd channel, and then the VCC, which is going to be our power channel. Not sure if you can quite see that there, but you'll notice it when we finish up. Now, because the light set is all one piece, where it's tied together and there's just one end, we want to be able to take the body on and off. So this extension is what's going to allow us to do that. By having the extension, we can have it pop kind of through the top, and basically the cover that's going to be going on, you're still going to be able to get this through and make it easy to take the body on and off without having to worry about unclipping it. So go ahead and take our little connector, plug it right into that VCC spot right there. It's just going to slide into place and lock down, and that's going to be our additional power. And then you can take the rest of it here and make sure we tuck all the wires back together so everything can go right back into place. It's a pretty snug area on these Kyoshos, actually. All this wiring is super tight. Could take a little bit of finessing to get that to slide through, but now that's going to be out on its own, and then we can continue to make sure we get everything kind of snugged up. And then once you have everything nicely snugged up, you can take your bolt that came out, or your screw rather, and snug everything right back up. Just screws in, and like that, you can now see just the little extension sticking out. The rest of it's covered right back up, just like OEM. Now, with the wiring properly done and kind of hanging out, I want to go ahead and test our lights to make sure that they're going to work properly. So what I'll do is I'll basically just take our lighting here, and let's plug this in just to that extension. Should plug right in. These are sometimes snug, but get that plugged in, and then just take the battery, and we'll plug the battery into the car, and then now you're going to see we got lights. So in this particular kit, these lights are going to be pretty simple. You've got white lights for the front, red lights for the rear. The rear uses a slightly smaller can than the front, and that's where this next step is. We're going to go ahead and start breaking into the body. So I'll take the car, put the car off to the side, and the body is now going to need some holes cut into it. So like I was saying before, you've got slightly larger bulbs and then slightly smaller bulbs. You can see the 2 different sizes, and the way these are going to work is the little light diode is going to slide in and just friction straight into place, and now you've got your light setup. So basically we'll put that in. We're gonna add just a dab of glue when we do that as well. And to get these lights in, I'm essentially gonna wanna start cutting into where the light bulbs would have been on the truck. And to do that, the easiest way is gonna be by using a proper tool. I've got one of these, this is from Dynamite, but basically this is a tool to cut into the Lexan. And we can just find the center of the light, get a little bit of pressure, and the way these work is this just spins and it starts to cut in. So I'll let you take a look right there. It's cut into place. And this tool is incredibly neat because when you do it, it's going to leave a nice clean hole. You're not going to end up having cracking or stuff like that happen. So we'll keep all of this out. And before going too far, you'll notice there's numbers on here that so you can indicate how deep you need to go. So we'll take our little light bucket, unscrew this. This is for the front, so the larger of the two light buckets. And you'll see that those pretty far off. Basically, I'm going to have to go well into probably at least 7.5 millimeters. Okay, so we've just crossed 7.5. Let's see if that's right. Nope, still a little bit bigger. There we go. And now you'll see that slid in is going to make a nice flush look. And on the other side, we can use the nut to screw on and lock it down into place. It doesn't need to be super snug, but a pair of pliers is definitely going to help you get this snugged up into place properly. Now with the one light bucket done, we're just going to move on to the next, and I'll get this done real quick since it's the exact same process. And boom, we got both front light buckets. Time to turn to the rear. For the rear buckets, I think I'm just going to put them kind of just a little inboard on the rear light if you take a look, because basically these are smaller buckets. I think if I go just a little inboard, it's going to fit. It's not quite as perfect as it could be, but that's okay. So we're just going to go right on the inside corner and start screwing in. Same process again. I'll let you know how it goes. And like magic, we've got the taillights mounted up. It's now going to be time to go about setting up the wiring here. So these two are a little bit tangled. The light set did not 100% totally split that up, but that's okay. We're going to put the two front light buckets in first, and to make sure that they stay where we want them to, I'm going to use just a little bit of CA glue. And that CA glue is going to help glue them into the light bucket. So essentially, I'll take our first light, put a little bit of CA glue right on the outside of the bucket, and we'll take that light, press it right into place, just like so. And then we can move on to doing the second light. Take a little bit more of that glue, toss it around, and right into that light bucket as well. So those two lights are in their light bucket. You can see them poking through just a little bit. And now we get to move on to the rear lights, which this unfortunately is a mess. I spent some time attempting to clean it up, and it was unfortunately a little ill-suited, but what do you expect for how little I paid for this stuff? So these, it's going to be exactly the same deal. A little glue on the light socket and slide the light in. A little glue on the light socket. And slide them in. And if you see there, lights are right in, and then on the back you can see the bulb poking through just a little bit. Now the last bit is just some cable management. We want to be able to keep this sort of down and out of the way. However, if we think about it, we've got our car there and the wires coming out on this side, so we want our wire to kind of come out on that side as well. So I'll show you what I intend on doing. Is basically I want the wire to be out here. I want everything kind of tucked up the best I can. And basically what I'm going to begin doing is start marking out essentially where I want this stuff to go. So I'm just going to use a little bit of hot glue just to mark down some of the stuff here. This hot glue is unlikely to be the permanent solution, but glue that in, hold it into place. And that's where the wire is going to come out, but we can go ahead and start tucking down where everything else would go. And with everything taped down there, next step is we're going to take some duct tape and make it official. So, tedious task here, but we do want to make sure everything kind of stays together like we expect it to. Alright, and it's not the prettiest, but it's going to work and hold everything together. So, last bit, and this really is all it comes to. So we got to plug in our light here and make sure it works. And I have no doubt it will. Turn on. Boom, we got 2 front lights. We got 2 rear lights. And the truck is complete. Ha, look at that. Yeah, awesome. Well, I think that about does it. It's time to go have some fun with this and see how it does out in the dark. Outside, it's plenty bright to be able to see as it goes through. You can definitely tell what's going on, even way off there in the dark. What's nice is even as I come back to the lights near my house, you can still see it pretty bright even where the lights are outside. I think this ended up coming out really nice. Whew. Unfortunately, it can't solve my bad driving, so I think it's time to go back inside. I appreciate you checking out to see how to add lights to your RC. I did it on my Kyosho Madvan, and I think it looks just absolutely awesome. Go ahead and leave a comment down below with what vehicle you're doing or working on, and I really hope this video was helpful for you. While you're at it, be sure to browse the channel. I've got lots of other RC videos, and definitely hit that subscribe button. It helps me out, grow the channel, and I'd love to see you out there RCing.